Antonio Gramsci stands as one of the most influential political thinkers of the 20th century, not for rejecting Marxism, but for reconstructing it from within, placing culture, civil society, and ideology at the heart of power relations. Confronted with the failures of classical revolutionary models and the resilience of capitalist democracies, Gramsci sought to understand why the oppressed often consent to their own domination. In doing so, he developed a comprehensive conceptual toolkit, including counter-hegemony, passive revolution, historical blocks, and class alliances, to explain both the endurance of existing orders and the pathways to transforming them. This framework not only redefined how power operates in modern societies but also provided a strategic vision for long-term, democratic, and culturally rooted revolution. What follows is a detailed exploration of these core concepts, and how they interlock to form Gramsci's vision of radical yet organized social change. 1. Counter-hegemony. According to Gramsci, the ruling class establishes hegemony by disseminating its ideology through civil society. However, this hegemony is not permanent. Counter-hegemony, meaning alternative worldviews, can destabilize this dominance. Counter-hegemony challenges the perception that the current order is natural and correct by establishing a new language, proposing new norms, demanding new rights and changes. Relation. Counter-hegemony is the initial rupture that triggers the transformation of the historical bloc and lays the groundwork for passive revolution. 2. Passive revolution. Passive revolution refers to revolutionary change that is initiated from above, within the existing system, and in a gradual manner. In this process, the masses are not the agents of change, but rather its objects. This concept implies that the ruling class responds to counter-hegemonic pressure. Instead of collapsing, it absorbs opposition by modifying its own structure and co-opting dissent. Thus, the appearance of change is created, but power relations are merely reconfigured. Relation. If counter-hegemony fails to mobilize a strong popular base, passive revolution can neutralize and absorb it. However, if counter-hegemony is well organized, it can transform passive revolution into genuine systemic change. 3. Historical bloc. A historical bloc is a coherent alliance formed between the economic structure, base, political coalitions, cultural and ideological discourses of a specific era. The ruling classes establish historical blocs by framing their own interests as universal or collective interests shared by society at large. Relation. Passive revolution serves as a means of reconstructing the existing historical bloc. Counter-hegemony seeks to break apart this bloc and replace it with a new one founded on different alliances and values. 4. Class fractions, alliances. For Gramsci, class is shaped not only economically but also ideologically. Each class may include internal fractions or segments, e.g., industrial versus commercial bourgeoisie. Moreover, subordinate classes, e.g., workers and peasants, can form organic alliances based on shared struggles. Relation. Historical blocs are not formed by a single class but emerge through negotiated unity among different class fractions. Counter-hegemonic movements must construct broad-based alliances among oppressed groups that reflect shared goals. Gramsci's vision of political order and revolutionary change. Gramsci rejected Marx's model of seizing the state through force in favor of transforming the state culturally. According to him, revolution is not just a change in political power, it's a transformation of systems of meaning. For lasting societal change, the struggle for hegemony must be won first. Counter-hegemony must occupy civil society, establish cultural leadership, and form a new historical bloc. During this process, the oppressed must form organic alliances and speak with a unified voice. In this sense, Gramsci's dream was a revolution that rises from below but transforms the top. A transformation where the people are not just the objects but the agents of change. The construction of a legitimate ethical, political, and cultural order through a newly formed historical bloc. Conclusion. Gramsci's political philosophy aims at radical social transformation through the production of counter-hegemony, overcoming the pitfalls of passive revolution, forming broad-based class alliances, and reconstructing hegemonic leadership. His approach represents a modern theory of revolution, one that places culture at the center of politics and views ideology, discourse, and organization as essential components of systemic change.